Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Good Work podcast. I am your host, Cassandra Martinson. I am so excited to be talking to you guys, with you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode, listen to the things that are on my heart and that God is doing in my life, the things that I have gone through and I've come through on the other end, things that I am learning and exploring, and just all the things happening in my life. It means the world to me. And I just appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. I always hope that in me being vulnerable and sharing what it is that I've been through, where I'm at, that you guys will be able to relate to that and not feel so lonely and so alone in the things that you're going through, because I know what that's like and it sucks. A lot of the experiences that we go through, a lot of people face and have experienced themselves or will experience at some point in time. So I think it's just important to be having conversations and be honest about the things that we go through. I hope that you guys are doing well. I know it's been a hot minute since I last recorded and put out an episode. I have had kind of a really difficult time, honestly, trying to find a rhythm between work and school and my personal life responsibilities, this podcast, all the things. So I have come up with a plan to ensure that I'm able to put stuff out every week. But thank you guys for being so kind and being so patient with me. I know it's really hard, especially when there's something you really want to listen to or hear, because I feel that when the people that I love to listen to don't put content out. But thank you just for meeting me with grace and so much understanding. I am currently sitting down to record this before I run to the gym, so I'm not looking the cutest or my best right now if you're watching this video. I have like these cute black sweat type things on, and then I always just pick a random t-shirt and throw it on. I'm not really like a cute matching fit gym girly. I want to go to the gym and have the least amount of eyes on me possible. So I try to dress to receive no reaction, I guess. I am sitting down to record this to film to head out the door. So I'm not looking my best or my cutest right now. And I really do apologize. The time, right? We're trying to find the time and make this happen. Today, I want to talk about something that I know can come across defensive. I know that it can ruffle some feathers. I know it's not very popular to say or to really even be discussing, but I think that it's something that's not being talked about enough, and I want to talk about it. And I hope that there are more discussions that are had about this and that more people will talk about it. Today, I want to talk about seeking truth, pursuing truth, just desperately searching for and relentlessly searching for the truth. Let me make sure my phone's on Do Not Disturb, because that's the worst when I'm recording something. I feel like today, when I look around at society, I look around at my peers, people my age, people that are younger than me, people that are a bit older than me, I see a very common trend of my truth, your truth, their truth, our truth. And it's something that I am not really a fan of, and I don't subscribe to it. And I want to say before I continue any further that my intention in talking about this, or anything for that matter on this podcast, is never to offend or to insult someone, to hurt someone's feelings, to make someone feel bad or talk down to anybody. That is never my intention whatsoever. I do my best to navigate everything that I talk about with grace and a heart posture of humbleness. I try to approach things very tenderly, because I know that the beliefs that we hold are so special to us. And there is a lot that goes into the things that we believe in, whether it be personal experiences, things that you've really thought through that you just don't agree with or that you agree with so strongly. Maybe it's something that you've seen someone else walk through, or something that's happened in history that has ignited this fire in you, or persuaded you to believe something, or maybe it wasn't a persuasion, but something that you came to believe as being factual and being a really hard truth. If that's where you're at with something that you believe, I get it, because I'm there too with a lot of my beliefs. And my goal is never to persuade you to believe something that you don't or try to get you to change your mind per se. I just want to have open conversations about the things that can be really tough to talk about and give you a different perspective on things, especially in the space of religion and spirituality. I know that there's a lot of people in this space that try to shove Christianity, try to shove God and Jesus down your throat. And I know what that's like, and it sucks. It's never ever worked out in those people's favor to try to do that to me. It has pushed me further from God. It has made me not want anything to do with those people or with the topic of religion, spirituality, Jesus, God, anything like that. And so my goal is never to force you to believe something, to shove something down your throat, or to, like I said, persuade you into believing something. I'm not trying to find the right words to make you believe something that I believe or phrase something a certain way to make it sound appealing. I just want to provide a different perspective and create a space where there can be open conversation. I'm really hoping that one day we'll get to a point where there can be like massive comments on TikTok videos or YouTube shorts or Instagram posts or Facebook shorts. Is that what it's called? Facebook videos, Facebook reels, I don't really know. But I'm hoping that one day there's a big space of community where we can just openly talk about these things and be respectful and be understanding of other people and their experiences and their beliefs and think about why it is that they believe what they believe and try to meet them where they're at. There's nothing wrong with stating opinions, but there is something wrong when we try to shove and force our opinions on other people rather than letting them critically think about what it is that we shared and let it really marinate. And then they get to decide if they want to look into it, if they want to believe in it, subscribe to it, fill in the blank. That's a personal decision that we all have. I realize that in sharing opinions and thoughts and beliefs, it can be somewhat difficult, especially when I'm talking to a camera and not an actual human face to face, to be super graceful about things, but I'm going to do my best. It's really difficult to live in a world where sharing our beliefs and opinions is going to hurt someone's feelings or come off as offensive in some way or another. Again, it's never my intention, but we live in a society today, and this will be controversial to say too, but I believe that people take offense to things so easily now. And it's kind of what I want to talk about today a little bit. I don't want to get too much into the societal side of things. At least I don't think that I do. I guess I might, but it's not my intention. But this being a space of really exploring religion, spirituality, Christianity, having a relationship with God, that's the truth that I want to focus on and really emphasize today. But we might touch on other subjects. I really don't know. But again, I just don't want anyone to be offended by what I have to say. It's not my intention. I hope that my heart comes out in this situation and that people give me the benefit of the doubt because I'm not perfect. I'm never going to say everything perfectly. It's something that's held me back for a lot of my life. I try so very hard to do everything that I do perfectly. And when I don't, I really beat myself up for it. But I'm trying my best to escape that loop of just like I will never be able to do something perfect. I try, I don't, I beat myself up, and then I try and I don't do it perfect and I beat myself up, and I'm really trying to pull myself out of that. And God is really working in my heart to help me do that. Big, huge, long spiel. I'm so sorry, but all of that to say that I want to talk about seeking truth and pursuing truth in today's episode. So, if I'm going to be totally and completely honest with you, which I said I would be, and I hope that you know I always will be, I am still on a journey of seeking truth. And I think that we should all be on a continuous lifelong journey to seek truth in every area of our lives. The one that I feel is the most important to continuously seek truth in is our beliefs about spirituality, religion, our soul, what's going to happen after we die, how should we move and navigate, live our lives on a daily basis, what should we be worshiping? Because the truth is that we all worship something, whether you worship an addiction or you worship an idol, you worship God, you worship gluttony and food or your health or whatever it is that you worship, we all worship something. And I think it's really important to continuously seek and ponder and wonder, what is it that I'm worshiping and why do I worship that? And what is that truth that I should be worshiping? I'm currently on this journey of continuing to seek truth even in my religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs. I do my very best to cling to the Bible when it comes to beliefs and to really root the things that I believe to be true in something that I have come to believe is true, but there are things in the Bible that I wrestle with, and I think that that's a good thing. I think that we should continuously be wrestling with even the things that we believe are true. And that's actually kind of a nice segue, thank you, God, into what I wanted to talk about at some point in this episode, but didn't know where I would. I have been somewhat open about growing up LDS. I didn't have a ton of experience personally in the LDS religion. My family and I left when I was 9, and I go more in depth on all of that in my first episode, My Journey to God. But I have had experiences with the LDS church pretty much my whole life because I've grown up in Utah and it is very prevalent here in Utah. Again, I'm not trying to offend or anything like that, but there are a lot of doctrinal beliefs that the LDS church holds that I just cannot get behind, that I feel are morally wrong, that I have come to find don't align with the truths of the Bible. And I am not trying to offend when I say any of that. It's just that there were things that I would question even early on that never sat right with me. And I decided to go looking for truths because I think it's important. But the thing that rubbed me wrong the most when I was LDS, and this either came out a little bit before or a little bit after I was LDS, I believe. If not, this is just when it was presented to me when I was aware of this statement. But this was a statement that was presented in General Conference. And for those of you that don't know what General Conference is, General Con- General Conference, blah. General Conference is a conference that happens, I believe, twice a year in the LDS religion. And it is when leaders of that specific religion will basically deliver these spiritual messages, religious messages to their congregations, to all of the members of this religion that they believe is divine revelation from God. You can watch it on TV, you can listen to it on the radio. I think you might be able to attend in person, maybe. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done any of that, but my family, we always just watched on TV or listened on the radio. It's a time where these leaders will just talk to the members of the religion and they're giving you what they believe, like I said, to be divine revelation from God and to be just these religious messages that you should apply to your life. I think that encompasses the main idea of that conference. A statement that was made during one of these conferences that really, really, really rubbed me the wrong way, just me personally, was the quote given, "You should doubt your doubts before you doubt your faith." The reason that I had such an issue with this is because I have always been a questioner. My parents, specifically my dad, always raised me to question everything. We should never take something that someone says to us as being the absolute truth. We should take that statement, that life lesson, that philosophy, whatever it is, and fact check it, look into it, see what basis and foundation of truth it has to stand on. We should never just listen to something that people say as being 100% factual and truthful. without looking into it ourselves, because there's so much out there that is meant to deceive people. There's so much out there that sounds so very good that is actually just a very comforting lie. And I believed in a lot of those for a lot of my life, but especially a lot of my upbringing. It's really been in adulthood and just in these last, let's see, 5, 6, 7 months, I've really started to question even things that I have been told that are true, to see if they're actually true, to see if I really believe in them, to see if they're not true, to see if it's a half truth, see where all of these things stem from. And it's really helped me grow as a human being, but it's also helped me grow in my faith and in the things that I believe in. And it's even redirected me to believe things that I never believed in because I was never presented those things, or I never knew about them being truthful. I never knew that those thoughts even existed in the world, or that those truths even existed in the world. So it's been a really good thing for me. But being told that I should doubt my own doubts, my own questions, the things that I wonder before I doubt what I believe in, did not sit right with me. And the reason that this does not sit right with me is because if something is true, we should be able to question it as much as we want to, because the things that are true will always stand the test of time. They will stand every question, every experiment, and looking into the truth, big T truth, is the truth no matter what. There are absolute truths despite what I think is very popular to believe today. Being in the age group that I'm in, I just hear all the time people talking about my truth, their truth, your truth, our truth, all of these different truths. And it's not something that I like at all, because I think that there is only one truth. There can be different experiences, don't get me wrong, or there can be different perceptions and different perspectives on things. I can definitely go through an experience with another person and they perceive the situation and experience different than I do, or they have a different perspective on it. And a lot of that comes with the way that we were raised, the beliefs that we have, the lens that we view life through, the way that we think through things and think about things. There's a lot of stuff that goes into us experiencing things differently and having a different perception of things than the person next to us, even, or maybe even someone in your family or your spouse, your significant other, someone that you routinely engage with and do life with. There's a lot of reasons that we would look at things very differently in life. Coming back to that statement, that quote of doubting your doubts before you doubt your faith, it has been something that has obviously stuck with me for quite a while, because I haven't been LDS since I was 9 years old. I am 23 years old now, and I still think about this quote all the time, because given the fact someone tells you, just believe this, I'm spoon feeding you this, don't question it, accept it as truth, if we continue down that path as a society, it terrifies me to think about where things are going to go and what we're going to become, because it leaves no room for critical thinking. It leaves no room to question even your greatest desires or your greatest thoughts, the most puzzling statements, the most puzzling beliefs, things that have been presented to us. And I just don't like it. It makes me nervous. I think that it's a beautiful thing that we question things and we doubt things and we critically think about things and wonder. I don't like this new societal, I don't know if you call it a fad or what you would call it, but just this whole believe what I tell you because I'm telling you the truth, without anyone actually thinking, are they deceiving me? Are they trying to con me out of something? Are they trying to lead me down a path of destruction? Are they trying to hurt me or conceal a truth from me that may hurt me? Fill in the blank. We need to critically think. We need to question. Every time that I get behind this microphone and I talk to you guys, I hope that you would not even take the things that I say as being 100% factual and truthful, because I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And there are things that people have said to me with the best of intentions and with the greatest of resources that I have misunderstood at times and that I have questioned, or that I have maybe come to believe from a different angle and a different lens that's kind of warped what the truth was. And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying with that. But I'm still human and I still struggle and I'm still learning and I am seeking truth continuously. But just as I have said, there's a lot of stuff out there that's presented as being truthful that's not. I fall victim to those things as well, just like everybody else. I do my best to fact check things, to have a solid foundation for the things that I believe in, but it doesn't always end up working out that way for me. And I would hope that you have some kind of trust in me enough to hear what I'm saying and think about it, but then you take that step further to be like, okay, is what Cass is telling me actually true? Is there any foundation behind it? Or is she still seeking this truth and not quite sure about it? I would hope that that's where people stand with every single thing that I say. I do my best to be truthful. I do my best to not lead anybody astray or deceive anybody in any way. But again, it's hard in the world. There's so much being thrown at us. There's so much stuff fighting for our attention all the time. I think that we live in the most difficult time in all of human history as far as knowing what to believe is concerned, because we have voices and things coming at us from all directions all the time. We have cell phones and TVs and radios and different types of content like books and news articles and podcasts and music and different voices and opinions. And I believe that we have spiritual things around us at all times. So you have those forces and those voices, and there's just a lot of stuff constantly fighting for our attention. And I find it to be extremely difficult in today's day and age to find quiet time and to be able to just be alone and critically think through things. So I feel like we're kind of at a disadvantage right now than a lot of people in history, but we also have a huge advantage because we have so many resources to verify things and fact check things and think through things before people having to look through encyclopedias or run back to however many people you needed to verify if something was true. We can just pull something up on our phones very easily and start looking into the factual evidence to back things up and to prove that something is actually truthful. So for that, I am grateful, but I do think it can be really difficult to gather all the truths and never be led astray because of how much is out there. So please, everything I say, verify it, double check it. If I'm ever wrong, please extend me grace and correct me. I am not above correction. I want people to pour into me and to continue to help me grow, just as I'm trying to help pour into you, give you different perspectives and stuff. And I just hope this is an area that we can all grow in. I want to give you some more context about my childhood and kind of the way that I'm approaching all of this, especially this topic in the space of religion and spirituality. As a kid, I was super, super, super weird. I never really fit in. I've talked to you guys about the fact that I didn't really have a lot of friends growing up. A lot of kids were wanting to play outside and play Foursquare and play house on the school playground, and they wanted to go play kickball, and they wanted to play fairies at recess, or you fill in the blank of whatever it was that the kids around you were doing. I never really had an interest in those kinds of things, and it's carried on into my life even as an adult. I have a hard time sitting and not consistently learning and taking in information. As a kid, like I have told you in the first episode, always read. I was a big reader, and specifically of anything nonfiction. I always wanted to be learning. I was always hungry to understand the way that things worked, the way that the universe seamlessly worked together, the way that people think and the different experiences that people have that shape them to believe certain things that they believe, to act the ways that they act, to understand history, because from a young age I have understood that history repeats itself, and the only way to not repeat the awful things in history is to learn from them so that we never make those mistakes and go down those paths ever again. I was always learning. My family had a computer that we could all use. Oftentimes during summer vacation, I would wake up and I would play some Plants vs. Zombies. Big deal here in my house when I was younger in elementary school. And then I would spend the rest of the day either reading a book or reading different things on Wikipedia. I know, not the most reliable site, but I read a ton on Wikipedia, learned a lot of truth and a lot of things that are not true that I have come to learn about later in life. But I was a big Wikipedia reader. I was always fascinated with people. I love learning from people and getting to see the different ways that people live and experience life, go through life. So I spent a lot of time researching famous people and the lives that they lived and their upbringing and what led to their success, what led to their downfall, what led to their death, and what was their life like. Like, I would read a lot about people like that, whether that be like our founding fathers or political figures, figures in entertainment, you name it. Like, every type of person that had any type of fame or significance in life, I wanted to learn about. So I spent a lot of time reading at recess, reading at free time during class, just constantly learning and absorbing as much as I could. I was a sponge as a child. I didn't take everything and absorb it as being truthful, but the things that I didn't agree with, even from a young age, I would listen to and I would think about, and if I didn't agree with it, I kind of put it to the side of, well, this is a belief that's out there and this is something you might come across one day, but we're going to cling to these other things that we believe to be truthful. I still very much live my life the same way today. I give a lot of thought to things that I don't agree with and I don't believe in, but I approach it from a much different perspective now. I have a lot of I always confuse sympathy and empathy, but I really care about people. And I care about people that are hurting, that are struggling, that are just going through difficult things in life, because I've been there. My eyes are watering talking about it. I know what it's like to hurt and to struggle and to feel like there's no escape and there's no way out of it, and to be seeking truth and to be seeking something to set us free from the pain that we're experiencing. And so I approach people with so much care and compassion, and I do my best to sit with people and just listen to them and hear them out, even if I don't agree with them. And I don't say any of this to be boastful. My goodness, this isn't because of me. It's because God has changed my heart, and He has taken my very selfish heart that used to only really care about me and my desires and the things I cared about, and given me a heart of flesh and a heart of humility and compassion toward other people. So I am not boasting in myself. I am boasting in God and the power He has and the life that He has given me. But I really do my best to approach people that way, because I understand that our beliefs and the things that we go through in life shape us, and our beliefs are based on the things that we go through in life and the different experiences that we have. And I just want to understand people. I want to understand why people believe in the things that they believe in and why they're at where they're at, and what I can do to pour into them and care for them and help them through whatever it is that they're going through. I've had a lot of conversations about this topic, about religion and spirituality and seeking truth, and I disagree with a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of people out there that disagree with me. But the biggest thing that has helped me grow in my beliefs is probably what people would not expect to help someone grow in their beliefs, but it's been in sitting with people and getting to understand why they believe what they believe and having my own beliefs be challenged and be questioned. It's forced me to look into what I believe more than anything ever has. And it's given me an opportunity to look at what it is that's being presented to me and questioning if there's any way that I could be wrong. I think that a lot of people are very close minded today. That was also a big thing when I was growing up. My dad would always tell us to be as open minded as we could. I'm so grateful for that kind of an upbringing and value being instilled in me because it has helped me in interacting with other people. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean that I can't think about what it is that you believe and put myself in your shoes and try to understand why it is that you believe this certain thing. I again think that it's the best thing to question what you believe because if it's truthful, there is nothing in the world that can negate truth and that can disprove something that is actually an absolute fundamental truth. To be honest with you, that is something that I kind of have a hard time with, even with Christians in Christianity. I've brought up this topic to one person because, again, you have to remember I'm really scared of being vulnerable. I have been met with just so much hatred and so much pain. I've been met with a lot of judgment. I've been made to feel shameful. I have been made to feel like everything is my fault. I've been met with pretty much everything other than grace and open mindedness and a desire to understand where it is that I'm coming from. And I think, as I talked about the experiences that we go through shaping who we are today, I think that's also part of what shaped me to be so open minded and to be willing to hear everybody out and try to put myself in your shoes because I've experienced a lot of everything but that in my life. I have expressed to a Christian that I really trusted that I think it's a good thing to even question your belief in God rather than just believe it because it was something that you were taught growing up. I touched on it in my first episode, but I went through this extremely deep and very, very personal heartbreak and heartache that made me question a lot. It was like the lowest point in my entire life. I started to question what it was that I believed in and why I believed in said things. I'm so thankful for that season, as difficult as it is. Romans 8:28, I believe, proved to be so true, where it says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. That season has served to be such a good growth experience and an opportunity for me to be able to relate to people better, but also just come to beliefs and understandings on my own rather than believe in things that I have been told are truthful and that I have been raised to believe. I think in the Christian space, there's a lot of Christians that just believe in God because that's what they were raised in and that's what their parents taught them to believe. And if that's all it took for you to come to an actual foundational, backed by fact and truth belief, I think that that's a beautiful thing. And that you have believed without needing to see, which is talked about in the Bible. I have it written down. John 20:29. It says something along the lines of, "Blessed are those who believe and have not seen." That's just not something that worked for me. I'm someone that needs to understand the why behind things to really fully understand and believe something to be truthful, I guess. Like, I feel so bad for my junior high math teacher. She is such a saint and had so much patience with me. And my high school math teacher, I was never very good at math. I was always the kid, like every day, every other day when it was A day, B day schedules in high school. I would stay after school and have to have my teachers help me with every single math assignment that I did. The why behind the reason that I was solving equations a certain way just never clicked in my head. And so I never fully grasped it, and I never did the best with math in school. I did well enough to pass and to get good grades, but when it came to testing, I always struggled. I think there was only one test my whole junior year of math that I passed with a 70 or above, or a 75, whatever a C is. Every other time, I would get a D or below every single time. And my math teacher would encourage us to come in, go over everything that we missed with her so she could show us where we went wrong. And then we had an opportunity to take, I believe it was like take another test, or maybe it was just go over what we messed up, but provide the right answer. And she would give us partial credit to help our grade. But I had to do that every single time except for one that I can remember. I just never grasped the why. And for me, I need the why. I need to know why the Bible is reliable, why I can believe in it, what it is that makes it factual and true. And in the Christian faith, I think obviously the heart of it is Jesus, but beyond that, we have to believe in God. And what better way to believe in God and connect with God than with His Word? Well, if you can't believe in His Word and you don't believe that it's reliable, or you don't know that it's reliable, then what do you really have to stand on in the Christian faith? I needed to understand who God was, why he was trustworthy, what the accounts were of his life. I don't know if I could ever say I really questioned Jesus being a real person. I don't know that that's something I ever really wondered about. There's a lot of historical evidence, not even biblical evidence, but historical evidence to prove that Jesus was a real person, that he walked this earth, that he died on a cross and was resurrected from the dead, that he walked amongst people. Like, there's a lot of historical evidence to prove that. And so I don't really question that so much. But something that my husband brought up to me that I questioned for a little bit was, he said that he believed in God, but Jesus being God, coming down from heaven and walking among us, could that actually be possible? And what a great point that was that he brought up to me, because I started to question, I don't know. Is that really something that I believe? It's something that I've been told my whole life, but what factual evidence is there to prove that? And that's something that I've been going through and I have been learning. But it's not something that I could say if someone stopped me on the street and asked me, hey, how do you know that Jesus is God? I could tell you, well, he's a son. But to tell you anything beyond that, I couldn't really give you any type of explanation. And so I've been growing in my faith and understanding of that as of recently. And again, it's only served to help me, but being challenged in that was a good thing for me. I think a lot of times today, people are challenged on a belief, and instead of being open minded about it, they get really, really, really defensive. Well, no matter what your cause is, whether you believe that we should all be kind, or you believe that we should all believe in a certain religion, or we should all have the same political stance, or we should all view the way society should work the same way. Whatever your cause and your mission and your burning passion is, if you're not willing to take the time to meet someone where they're at and critically think about why they believe what they believe, to put yourself in their shoes and hear them out with a very open mind, you are never going to be able to reach them and have them meet you that way. Everyone today just seems to be so defensive, and in my opinion, it has served as a downfall to society, not something to build us up. There's nothing wrong with being strong in your beliefs and to have a passion about something, because I do. I have passions and stuff, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't think that because you're passionate, that when someone asks you something, if they don't agree with it or they question you, that you get defensive about it and you shut down and you start attacking their belief. We need to be more open minded. We need to critically think. We need to have compassion and sympathy and look at people, as being human, as being more than just their belief. They have life experiences and they have feelings, and they have a lot of things that have gone into them being the person that they are today. And it breaks my heart, especially with politics and religion, to see people hate someone simply because they believe something different than you. We're so much more than a political belief or than a religious belief. So much more. And I'm hoping that as a society, we can get to a point where we're able to see that and realize that truth, because I believe that's a big T truth. That's not a my truth. That's the truth. People are people, and there's so much that make up people, more than just beliefs that they hold. I think that it's only fair in talking about religion, spirituality, Christianity, having a relationship with God, to talk about the fact that our faith should not be rooted in feelings. I was a part of a religion that just told me, pray about it and God will give you the feeling to know that this is true. And I, again, just struggled with that. I struggled with it through junior high, going to Christian churches, through high school, even into my adult life. I believed so much of what I believed concerning religion and spirituality because of my feelings. Because I would spend time reading a little bit of the Bible and I would feel good, or I would go to church and I would leave feeling good or feeling encouraged. When it came time for someone to ask me why I believed in what I believed, I couldn't give any type of real, factual, concrete, historical evidence, anything to fall back on other than my feelings. And I'm not trying to change your mind. If you belong to a religion or you have a belief set that it is fine to believe what you believe based off of your feelings in this space, in religion and spirituality, then do that. I'm not trying to change your mind. I just think that this space being as important as it is to people, we need to have something to fall back on other than our feelings. If you're a truth seeker, you should be able to fall back on the truth of what it is that you believe. Our feelings are truthful. Like, you can truthfully feel hungry when you haven't eaten, or truthfully feel sad when a loved one has passed away, or truthfully feel angry when someone wrongs you. But our feelings ebb and flow so very much. There can be hormonal things that happen. It depends on what you ate, or what we eat affects our feelings. It can be something as simple as what you watch on social media or on TV, or what you heard on your way home from work, or what someone has said to somebody else. You fill in the blank. Our feelings change all the time. And sometimes we'll feel a certain way about something one day, and then the next day or the next week or the next year, some other time later in the future, we don't feel that way about that thing anymore. And when it comes to religion and spirituality, and the fact that this conversation seems to be had a lot around the time of death, when death is approaching, or thinking about what's going to happen when we die, what's happening around us, what is my purpose, what am I here for? Those seem to be the times that I hear a lot about the religious talks and things come up, or even like injustices in the world, stuff like that. I think that if you believe in Christianity or Buddhism or Islam or the LDS religion, or you believe in the Jewish faith, or you're a Catholic, whatever it is that you believe, I think that you have to have truths to fall back on, because this stuff is just so important in people's lives. And I think it's designed that way for a reason, because I really do believe that we have a soul that will go somewhere after we die. And I know there's a lot of different religions that preach that and believe in that. And so if you believe in that, I think you have to take seeking this truth a little bit more seriously than seeking some other truths in life. And it's why I wanted to talk about this today. There's a lot of my truth. Well, it's my truth that I believe after this we go here, or after this we go there. And that's fine that you believe that, but what do you really have to back that up with? What type of evidence do you have to back that up with? Do you really genuinely, in the deepest parts of your heart and soul, believe that if you were to die today, that you would end up in the place that you believe? You would bet your whole life on that. If you can't answer that with certainty, which I never, ever could until now in my life, you might want to start questioning what it is that you believe. I was always of the mindset like, I'm going to heaven. I'm going to heaven when I die. All good people go to heaven. Because again, that's what I was raised to believe in the LDS religion. The Bible talks about what life looks like after this different than what I grew up in. And it made me critically think about what the heck is going to happen to me when I die? What's going to happen to the people that I care about? What is the purpose of me being here today? And what's my soul doing? And how is it helping me or going through life with me? And it made me start to question things in the best possible way. If you're listening to this podcast, my guess is that you're questioning having a relationship with God, you're questioning the existence of God, or maybe you're really on fire for God and you have a really solid relationship with Him. Maybe you're trying to seek how to better talk to someone that's not quite where you're at in their spiritual walk and religious walk and stuff. If that's where you're at, if my assumption is correct in any of that, I think that it's okay to question God. I think it's okay to question what He says in the Bible. I think it's okay to question what people tell you about God and what your own understanding of God is, or question certain things that He says are true that you maybe don't agree with or you just aren't quite sure of. I think that God welcomes all our questions. God is not like a human, I don't think, in the sense of questioning if He's being honest with you. We kind of tend to get defensive if someone asks that of us or they question our motives or anything like that. I don't really think that God gets upset about those things, but again, I could be wrong in saying that. But I think that God just delights in us wanting to get to know Him better and wanting to have a better understanding. It says that God delights to give us wisdom, He delights to give us peace and understanding. How do you get understanding if you aren't questioning and if you aren't seeking? I think it's okay to ask God the tough questions. I think it's okay to go through seasons of not really quite understanding who He is and needing to run back to something that can provide you truth. I would really love to do an episode on being able to believe the Bible to be true. And if you're watching, I keep looking here because my Bible's right there. But I really want to talk about how you can understand that the Bible is factual, because there's so much out there about the Bible not being truthful and about the Bible being truthful. And I think it can be hard to understand what is actually truthful. But for that, I'd probably need to bring someone on here who has a pretty good understanding that won't trip over their words the way that I do. So if you feel like you have a pretty good understanding of why the Bible is truthful and you can articulate yourself pretty well, please send me a message and we'll definitely have someone else on the podcast. I think that would be super fun anyways. But I went a lot of my life reading the Bible just kind of as a story rather than truth. And if that's where you're starting out, just start reading your Bible if that's a desire that you have, being what it is. One of the best approaches that I've heard for reading the Bible is to just read it like a child. Humble yourself. Don't come in with any type of prejudices or any preconceived notions or beliefs. Just read the Bible like a child. Go into it extremely open-minded and start in the New Testament. I always recommend people start in Matthew. It's my favorite New Testament gospel, so the first four books of the Bible. But a lot of people really love the book of John. But those books will really highlight Jesus and His ministry, who He was, what His life here on earth looked like, which I think is really important to understand if you want to pursue having a relationship with God and you want to tell people about Him. Just start where you're at and understand that your feelings about the Bible might change and your beliefs might change as you come to understand truth and what is truthful and what's not. So I think that would be a really fun episode. If that's something you guys are interested in, please let me know. I would love to talk about that because it's something that for 22 years of my life, I didn't have a very good understanding of. I read it because I've always been told it's the Word of God, but belief is so much stronger than fact, and I believed it but like had no fact to back it up. I would love to talk about that a little bit more. I want to talk also about something new that's been going on in my life that has been actually really, really fun and opened my eyes to a lot of things. I have been coming across some more TikTok lives recently than I ever have my whole time being on TikTok since the pandemic and COVID and all that. But I've been coming across a lot of religious TikTok lives, some of them having to do with Catholicism, with just straight up Christianity, with the LDS church. I mean, I'm getting like a very, very, very broad spectrum of religion right now and different beliefs, and I'm open to hearing it all. Again, if it's truthful, if what I believe is truthful, it will stand every single test. I'm not worried about that. But I am very open minded to what people have to say, because if I want to meet them and try to tell them what I have come to realize is the truth, I have to meet them and what they believe is the truth. And so, what was very interesting is probably at this point, about a week ago, I came across a TikTok live of a girl who used to be a Christian. She explained that she grew up Christian. She would go to church multiple times a week. She was on the worship team. She went to, like, all throughout her childhood, like the little kids ministry stuff, the youth stuff, obviously Sunday service. She helped out a lot at the church. She dedicated 2 hours a day to reading her Bible and different Christian religious texts. She spent a lot of time in prayer. Like, she was a very, very devout Christian. And then she explained that in college, her grandpa had passed away. He was a really great guy, very friendly, really funny, very compassionate. Just started describing her grandpa as being this wonderful person, which I'm sure he was. But based off of her belief system, he had never wanted anything to do with God. And that meant that where his soul lied was not what she wanted to believe. It didn't align with what she grew up believing. And so it really started this process of deconstructing her faith and her life. And I'd never come across this term in my entire life. And I assume I kind of tried to Google it and look into it, but got a lot of different responses on Reddit and even different Christian websites and just personal blogs that people write. The big idea of deconstructing your faith that I pulled from everything I read was basically just questioning what you believe and then starting to basically dissect and what's the word I'm trying to say? Not uncover, but you're dissecting everything that you believe, and you're getting to the root of why you believe what you believe, trying to see if it's truthful, trying to see if point A is factual and then point B, and you're just kind of deconstructing everything and going through this process of not dismantling. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to say, but step by step, you are questioning and you are looking into, which I think is a good thing. Really, with anything that you believe, you should never just blindly believe things. You should have a reason to believe what it is that you believe. So, if that's the definition of deconstructing your faith, I don't think that's bad. I think it's okay to question and to look into the truths that you claim to believe in. She explained that that's what she had done, and she had done this a while ago, and she explained that it was a really lonely process. She lost all of her community. I mean, everything in her life was about God and going to church and being a part of church, and she lost that whole community in that process. She was judged really harshly and just dismissed and not treated the best. And so she wanted to create a space where people who were doing the same thing could have open discussions where they wouldn't be attacked and they would be met with love. They would have others to encourage them and be able to encourage those other people as well. And so I had watched a couple of her lives and I'd asked a couple questions, and she was so kind, so respectful, so polite. She was just a lovely individual. There was a question that came across one of her lives, and the question was, do you ever miss believing in God? And her response was, of course I do. Of course I miss believing in God, and I miss having something to believe in that that makes sense and makes everything make sense. But she said, I do still have purpose outside of needing to believe in a higher power. And she kind of articulated on where her thoughts and beliefs were. And then this person followed it up with asking a question that I was honestly surprised to see in this type of a space. But he said, would you ever want to believe in God again? And given the space that we were in, I automatically assumed she would say something like, absolutely not. I've been hurt by so many Christians. This belief that I had in God hurt me because of the passing of my grandfather, or I dedicated so much of my life to this thing and I feel like it was such a waste of time. I just had all of these assumptions that it would be something so negative because I feel like a lot of people who walk away from Christianity have such a negative experience when there are so many good things about Christianity that I think people take with them. Just like even in the LDS faith, there were good things that I took from that religion. Kind of just a side note, I went to lunch with one of my friends, and I know she'll be listening, so hi, I love you very much. But her and I went to lunch, and we were talking about the LDS faith, and she was saying that there's some things that she doesn't believe about the doctrine of the LDS church, but she likes the principles and things that it teaches. And I would agree with her. I like that the LDS religion teaches that we should be kind and that we should make an effort to be as good of a person as we possibly can be, that we should be honest and have integrity, that we should forgive others. Like, there's a lot of really good principles from the LDS church that have shaped and molded who I am today. And so, people that walk away from any religion, I think, can walk away having bad experiences, but being able to take the good with them and talk about those just as they talk about the negative things, which, I mean, we can all work on for sure. I just assumed, sorry, back to the live, I just assumed that she would respond the worst to that question, but her response really surprised me, and she said, I just want to believe the truth. So someone asking her, would you ever want to believe in God again? She just said, I just want to believe the truth. No matter what that is, if that's God, yes, I want to believe in God again. If that is the universe, then I want to believe in the universe. Or if it's a different religion entirely, then I want to believe in that. And she said she just wants to believe in the truth. Even though that space is not what I'm looking for, I'm not currently deconstructing every single thing that I believe about God and Christianity and religion and spirituality. It was a space where I felt heard and seen because there was someone else that was just seeking the truth, which is what I'm doing, and which is what I hope all of us will do at some point in our lives with every area that we possibly care to think about and to look into. I think above all, we should consistently be seeking truth, even in a society, and my primary listeners being my age, so even in our generation of my truth, and this is true because I believe it and because I say it is, we should continuously seek truth above our feelings. I think a lot of us are on a happiness journey rather than a truth journey, and happiness can only take you so far before it doesn't make you happy anymore and you have to seek this new thing. And so, above all, we need to pursue truth. It's so important. It's the fabric of why things work the way that they do. And so I think we need to just continuously pursue truth in everything. Another live that I came across was actually insane to me. I have never heard this thought in my entire life, and I want to make it very well known before I even present it. I do not agree with it whatsoever. There was a guy on TikTok. He had a live. Above his head, he had this text that said, Christians cannot sin. If you sin and you claim to be a Christian, you are not actually a Christian. You have never known God in your entire life. This intrigued me a lot. So, my husband, very kind, the sweetest man alive, took our dogs on a walk, and I stayed home so that I could watch this live and interact with all the people in the comments and ask questions because, again, I'm open-minded. It intrigued me enough to want to listen to it and see if maybe something that I believe is incorrect again. But I listened to it. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was open-minded. And everything that he was saying, man, I just could not disagree with anymore. He was claiming that if you are a Christian, you are supposed to walk as Christ walks, and Christ was perfect, therefore you should be perfect. And I pose a question, are you claiming that you believe you're perfect? You're claiming to be perfect? And he responded and said, absolutely, I am. And so people were asking him, you never speed, you never swear, you never have a bad thought, you never sleep past when you're supposed to be awake or feed your body bad food. Like, you never mess up at all. And he kept ignoring a lot of these comments till finally people were just spamming them in there. And I could tell that he was getting a little bit defensive about it, which, yeah, if you're claiming to be perfect and people are pointing out how you can't be and you're not, I would probably be defensive too. He finally said, oh, yeah, I speed. Oh, so what? Oh, yeah, I drink coffee. So what? Yeah, I've not ate the greatest at times, so what? It's not about me, it's about God. And I responded and I said, that's exactly the point. That's the point of Christianity. It's about God. We bring nothing to the table. We can't save ourselves. We're not perfect. In order to have a relationship with God, we had to have a perfect sacrifice. We had to have someone perfect to be able to reconcile us and fix that relationship that was broken, because a perfect God can't have anything to do with anything less than perfection. We can't be perfect, therefore, we need someone to stand in our place in front of God and be able to be what God sees when He looks at us. God no longer sees our sin. As a Christian, I definitely think that God forgives me and I get to live in freedom because I know that I'm going to mess up, but I have Jesus who paid for my sins and covers my sins, and I'm okay. And I can stand in front of God and know that He loves me and sees me and hears me and all the things. But I would never claim to be perfect. Ever. Every single day, I fail God, I fail my husband, I fail the people in my life, I fail my boss, I fail my cute dogs. Like, I fail. And it's not that I intentionally try to, but I, being such a perfectionist, just know that I could have done something better. And therefore, for me, I see that as a failure. Like, I could have made more time to make like a really healthy green juice to give to my body that feels like crap, but I chose to sleep because I felt like I needed that more. But if I would have only prepped it yesterday or whatever, like, I'm such a perfectionist type person, and I'm really asking God to work through that with me because it's no way to live and it causes a lot of stress in my life. But I just know that I fail every single day, and that's okay. I've come to accept that that's okay because it just shows me that I'm human and I can't be perfect and I will never be perfect. But there is someone that is perfect, that died for me, that loved me, that knew that I couldn't be perfect, but wanted to have a relationship with me, and saw that the only way that was possible was if someone that was perfect fixed what was broken and what was not perfect. It served to help strengthen my faith again, like being challenged to believe, do I have to be perfect to be a Christian? Am I not actually a Christian if I'm not perfect? Because I have heard some pretty outlandish beliefs about some things concerning Christianity and pertaining to my relationship with God that in the past really made me stumble because I wouldn't take the time to think about it or question it. I just accepted it as being truthful, and that really, really was a stumbling block to me. If someone has ever said anything to you to make you feel shame or make you feel like you're not good enough or like God could never love you, like you're not doing enough, whatever it is, I just want to give you a hug and tell you that that's not the way that God sees you at all. And it's okay to question other people and their opinions of you. And it's okay to not agree with them. You know yourself best. And if you're in a relationship with God, you are continuously getting to know God forever. And so you will come to a place of understanding that God sees you with so much love and compassion, and He just wants to hug you and be close to you and wrap you in all this love and peace and hope, and He has good plans for you. He is such a good father. That's been life changing for me growing up in the household that I did. Like, to have a good father that loves me and desires to give me good things and looks out for me, all the things that God is. It's been absolutely transformative to my life and my heart and my soul and my thoughts and the way I want to parent my kids one day. And it's changed me. God has changed me. Wherever you're at, like, it's okay to question things. It's okay to question what people tell you. It's okay to question what you've always grown up believing. It's okay to question what someone presents to you as being factual or as not being truthful. I think it's good to question things that people say aren't truthful either. There's a lot out there that people say is not true, that if you took the time to really dig into it, you will find that it is truthful. It's okay to question everything and to be on alert of everything. We're supposed to do that. I guess I kind of just want to end by saying that I get on here and speak behind this microphone and tell you the truths that I've come to believe because as someone that was always seeking truth, I just wanted someone that would tell me the truth in a loving way that wasn't abrasive, that wasn't being shoved down my throat, that wasn't being presented to me like I had to meet a certain standard in order to belong to this truth or have it affect my life in any way. I just want you guys to know that there is truth out there. There are different experiences and different perspectives and different opinions, and I'm never going to say that's not true, that those things exist, but there are absolute truths out there. We have to breathe to live. It doesn't matter if you manifest it or you hold your crystals or whatever that world looks like. I don't really know. Whatever it is that you're doing, you will never be able to change the absolute truth that we need air to live, that we need food to live, that we need water, that the sun rises on the east and sets in the west. I'm a little directionally challenged, but it's getting better. I used to be someone that always believed north was right in front of me. In third grade, I remember my teacher tried to teach us directions through a treasure hunt. She's the best teacher ever. I loved her. But it would say, like, take 36 paces north, and we sectioned off into groups, and I was always the outcast. Like, no one really listened to me, but I did things my own way anyways because I was raised pretty independent. I had to be pretty independent because of what I grew up in. So I would just go the opposite direction of a lot of people, and I would just think, oh, north ahead of me, oh, west, okay, so northeast, okay, so to the left of me, and I would just do it that way, and most of the time I wasn't going the right direction, and I never found the treasure, and all the other kids did, but you would be very impressed that I now know at least what direction north is, and then I can work my way from there. Yeah, there are just absolute truths out there, and I have a hard time subscribing to a society of my truth and your truth and their truth and our truth and all the different truths. There is truth, and I encourage you to seek the truth, the big T truth. You can have differing opinions. You can believe things that aren't true. Belief is so much stronger than fact. I will stand and die on that hill. It is so much stronger than fact, but it doesn't mean that that fact isn't a fact. Fact will always be fact. Truth will always be truth. Nothing can change those two things, those two statements. Fact is fact and truth is truth. But you're allowed to believe whatever you want, and you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want, and other people are too. If you ever want to talk to someone that has a different opinion than you or a different belief, I encourage it because it will help you understand them better, and we all should seek to understand each other better and care for each other better. But it will also give you a second to question what you believe, and that will either strengthen what you believe or it will cause you to look into it and think about the fact that maybe this isn't quite accurate after all. I have just come to know that Jesus is the truth, and it's the reason that I sit here and I talk about it to you guys because I care about you. If what I believe is true, the most loving thing I could ever do is tell you about truth. The most unloving thing I could ever do is just act like truth doesn't exist and let you believe whatever it is you want to believe and exist in what you exist in to a point. Like, I let you believe what you want. Everyone should let people believe what they want, but we have a duty, I feel like, to tell people and at least give them another option, especially when it comes to something being truthful. And so that's what I'm doing. I love you guys and I care about you, each and every single one of you. And I pray over everyone that listens to this podcast and watches any videos of mine on social media. I just care. I really, really care. And I wish I could sit with all of you one on one and hear your stories and better be able to know how to speak to you and relate to you, because that's where I feel like I'm lost a little bit in this podcast. I don't quite know how to speak to what you're going through. I really just rely on God to give me the words to say and kind of give up control to Him. Not kind of, it's exactly what I do. I come in with like some notes, but I don't always follow them. I just need to get them out of my head and have something to reference from time to time. But if anything resonated with you, it's God. Know that it's not me, but it's God. It gives me comfort that hopefully something was said today that resonated with you and made you feel heard and seen and loved. And I look forward to the day that I get to sit down with you guys and talk to you more one on one and get to hear your stories and what makes up who you are. I think that's it. I'm going to hit the gym. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. I have plans to sit down and record another episode again tomorrow. So be watching, have notifications turned on. If you like this podcast, please rate it, review it. Let me know what you love so I can keep doing it, and let me know what you want changed so that I can better serve you guys and cater to what it is that you're looking for. And if you feel like this would be beneficial to someone else, please share it. This is my little baby, this little podcast, and I just want to see it grow, but only if it's going to serve to benefit people and to encourage them. I don't want this for myself. I really submit this whole thing to God and just trust that He'll do what He knows is best with it. My whole purpose is just to care about you guys and provide you a space where you feel safe to explore and critically think about things and ask the tough questions and be encouraged in your faith journey and your walk and stuff. And so I hope that happened today. But yeah, I suck at saying goodbye. Can you tell? Okay. Have a good day, guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.